Just all my valuables, all my jewelry, all my money.
In addition to snatching cash and jewels, the thief reportedly made off with Paris's personal stash of home videos.
On these videotapes, it's reported that she was in overtly sexually flirtatious situations with Jason Shaw and Nick Carter, formerly of the Backstreet Boys.
According to LAPD sources, the videos were later found in the possession of an acquaintance within Paris's own social circle. His name was Darnell Riley, and he would later be the link between these two cases. Darnell Riley is the classic Hollywood con man, a good-looking, smooth-talking predator bent on infiltrating the rich and famous. He was also someone who spent most of his life behind bars.
As a juvenile, he had stone-cold murdered 2 shopkeepers, shot them to death, and he was in prison from the age of 15 to 24. He got out, and through the world of boxing and nightclubs, he began to insinuate himself into the lives of various high-profile celebrities.
Riley was Hilton's party pal, rubbing elbows with Paris and her celebutante friends like Brandon Davis and heiress Casey Johnson.
Darnell was actually an invited guest in the Hilton home on several occasions.
He's a very charismatic person. He holds himself very well and can maintain quite a conversation.
Kristen Williams, a friend of both Paris and Darnell's, was taken in by his charm.
He was a gentleman. He never drank a drop of alcohol. He never did drugs. He was always the one that was there at the party making sure everyone else was okay.
Hollywood is such a small town that it's not very hard for shadier characters to get close to a celeb.
Paris reportedly knew him well enough to list him among her contacts in her sidekick, later posted on the internet.
Darnell's name was in between Andy Roddick and Nicole Richie and her sidekick.
That relationship would take an ugly turn in August 2004 when, according to Joe Francis's court testimony, Riley began extorting Paris for $20,000 a month in exchange for keeping the tapes private. According to Francis, Paris refused to go to the police.
You gotta understand, this guy had Hollywood shaking in its boots because this guy had killed 2 people, and he had not been shy about it. Everybody was afraid of this guy.
The situation continued for several months until Paris and Joe got together in December 2004. They compared extortion stories, and Paris theorized that the mystery man behind Joe's extortion could very well be the same person behind hers, Darnell Riley.
And the reason why Paris told me was she was sick of being blackmailed by this guy, and she wanted me to go after him.
Francis went straight to the police, who began an investigation of Riley. When they searched his home in March 2005, they found a host of items linking him to the crime.
They find this knapsack, which contains twist ties, a 2-way radio, the mask, handcuffs.
There were several guns that were taken into custody. We ended up also recovering a videotape that portrayed the actual act that occurred to Mr. Francis.
The police also found stolen items belonging to Paris Hilton, including her personal videos. Although Riley has not been charged in the Hilton burglary, the evidence against him in the Francis case was overwhelming.
If you added up all of Darnell's initial charges, he was looking at 2 life terms plus 18 years.
In February 2006, Riley copped a plea in the Francis case and pled guilty to robbery, use of a firearm, and attempted extortion, and was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
I feel very relieved that this guy who broke into my house pleaded guilty and that the case is over.
This case, I can safely say, having been a prosecutor for 11 years now, is one of the most bizarre set of facts that I have ever come across.
This is such a cautionary tale for the celebutantes of Hollywood in terms of screening who you're going to let in your circle. It may just be the person who's going to rob you.
Coming up, Cameron Diaz's celluloid past comes back to haunt her.
You know, that's classic. I've got something you want, and if you don't pay up, I'm going to use it to embarrass you.
Plus, Wesley Snipes' PR code red.
Her claim was that, you know, she had had this relationship, and by relationship I mean sex, with Wesley Snipes in a crack house in Illinois.
I became involved with the actor Wesley Snipes at the age of 12. I gave birth to my first child when I was 13.
Next on